So we're actually pretty excited that the utilities see the value prop of what modern hydrogen is doing, and they're like, okay, that's a smart solution because that's using all the money and all the assets that are already in the ground and still finding a way to decarbonize. To be very clear, we're at pilot stage, right? So we have pilot units like going to early customers, not at mass production scale yet. But think of us as at the stage of when Tesla was building and shipping its first Tesla Roadsters. That's how early in the journey we are. FYI, we are a startup, so we're about like 60 people, have raised about $100 million over the years, which in energy is actually not that much money. A lot of our customers are some of the biggest energy utilities in the country. And in some sense, they see the same issues. They're under tremendous decarbonization pressure from regulators, from their customer base. You heard about like Lahaina burning down, and now like Hawaiian Electric Utility, their stock price has been tanked because everybody suspects one of their electricity grid lines got blown by the high winds and sparked the fire. Well,
they didn't shut it down fast enough. That's the heat they're getting.
So it's like, what can you do, right? Like we'll need more electricity and more electricity lines to be able to use more renewable solar and wind. And yet, like that takes a lot of time, that takes a lot of cost, and that takes a lot of risk, right? I think the transmission infrastructure is very hard to build. It's NIMBYism and all of that, right? Like, it's funny. The US has 7 million miles of electricity transmission lines. Took a century to build that too. And last year, only a few hundred miles of new ones were permitted. And each of those permits was like a 15-year journey. Like it took people applied 15 years ago and was finally permitted last year. So that's how slow we have the ability to build new infrastructure. And all the utilities know this. So we're actually pretty excited that the utilities see the value prop of what modern hydrogen is doing. And they're like, okay, that's a smart solution because that's using all the money and all the assets that are already in the ground and still finding a way to decarbonize.
It is crazy to think about, like my parents' generation, all the infrastructure that was built in the US, like coming out of like World War II. Think about it. Like you said, all the the highway systems, the electric lines, the gas lines, like massive bridges. Like we built crazy stuff back then. And now you look around. I can't remember. I did a long road trip with my buddy a few weeks ago. When's the last time you seen a major like highway put in anywhere? If you really want to make an impact on the planet, it's super cool that you're able to leverage existing infrastructure, because to back to your point, to build all these things out, like that's just we got to rethink that. We got to reimagine and utilize what we already have, because it's not going to happen. Like there's no way we're going to build all this stuff fast enough.
I kind of wish we could, but pragmatically, it doesn't look like the case.
Well, look how long it takes us to do construction projects.
Yeah.
We're here in Seattle, right? Like we're building this light rail system. It's going to be a 15-year project, maybe 20-year project.
There was some news that like Washington State got some federal money to investigate some high-speed rail between Vancouver, Seattle, and Portland. And the time frame that they're thinking of, like 2050.
It just makes you want to pull your hair out, and it's slow. And I learned this through a friend of mine that was talking about infrastructure, and he said, well, what happens is the way we tax, there's a bond the government gets issued, and that gets released in a certain sequence. That's why that's why construction projects, that's why you go by down the freeway and you see like 5 people on a mile stretch. Conversely, look at China. If they want to put 4 miles in, there's 2,000 people on it, and it's there within a few days. It's crazy. I think that's some of the limiting factors. And then I get back to the point of bureaucracy and permitting. Like, it's so hard to build stuff anymore. I just think it was a lot easier back in the day. So it's really cool that you're able to leverage something that exists, because that way you just don't have to deal with that hurdle.
Yeah, if I had a different skill set than being a technologist, if I was a good politician, that's why I would work on permit reform.
I would be a terrible politician. I probably would just pull my hair out all day because the lack of progress. I just couldn't do it.